My name is Mara, and I was 34 when my daughter Lily was diagnosed with a rare blood disorder. The treatment that could save her was experimental, expensive, and completely excluded from our insurance. The cost was $82,000. I called my parents crying. I begged them for anything, even $10,000 to get started. My father sighed before saying they couldn't spare a cent. Money was tight. They had their own obligations. My mother added, "Families shouldn't put each other in uncomfortable positions like this." I remember sitting on my kitchen floor after the call ended, staring at Lily's drawings taped across the refrigerator. My phone was still warm in my hand. 6 weeks later, my younger brother Evan announced he was buying a house. Not a small starter home, a 4-bedroom house with a finished basement, a large backyard, and even a brand new swing set. When I asked how he'd managed the down payment, my mother smiled proudly. "Your father and I helped him," she said. "It was a gift. He doesn't have to pay us back." I said nothing. I just sat there doing the math in my head. The same parents who couldn't spare a cent for my dying daughter had somehow found enough money to buy their son a house. I sold my car. I borrowed against my home. I created a fundraiser that raised $11,000 from complete strangers. But it wasn't enough. The treatment window closed. 4 months after that phone call, Lily died. At her funeral, I watched my parents cry beside me while knowing they had helped their son buy a house during the same weeks my daughter was running out of time. I never forgot that, and I never truly forgave them. For 3 years after Lily's death, I built a wall around myself. I still attended family holidays because I refused to give my parents the satisfaction of saying I had abandoned the family. But I kept them at a distance. Evan never mentioned the house or the money. Instead, he talked casually about his kitchen island, his home theatre, and renovations, as though none of it had cost me something I could never get back. During those years, I became a paralegal specialising in trust and estate law. The irony wasn't lost on me. Every day, I studied how families protected assets, divided wealth, and used a few carefully written words to decide who was remembered and who was forgotten. Then, last week, my mother called me at 11 at night. Her voice was shaking. Evan had collapsed at work, his organs were failing, and doctors needed a transplant quickly. The donor registry had found no match. "Your brother needs you," my mother whispered. "You're the only one who might be compatible." I drove to the hospital, not because I had forgiven anyone, but because some part of me still couldn't ignore a dying person. The waiting room looked painfully familiar. Sterile blue-grey walls, uncomfortable chairs, the sharp smell of sanitizer and fear. My mother stood the moment I entered. Her purse fell to the floor as she hurried toward me. She grabbed both my hands. "Please," she begged through tears. "You're the only one who can save him." I looked down at her hands wrapped around mine. Then I remembered Lily's tiny fingers growing cold in a hospital bed. I remembered the swing set in Evan's backyard. I picked up my bag. My mother stared at me terrified, and I said quietly, "I didn't come here to be tested." Her face went pale. My father stood abruptly. Then the doctor stepped through the double doors, clipboard in hand. He looked directly at me. "So," he asked, "that's a yes?" "No," I said. "I'm not getting tested. I'm here to see my brother, not save him." The silence that followed was unbearable. My mother stared at me. "You don't mean that. He's your brother. He's dying." "I know exactly what dying looks like," I replied. I watched my daughter die while this family decided a house was more important than her treatment. My father insisted things had been complicated. They had obligations. Helping Evan had never been meant as a statement against Lily. I asked him one question. If it wasn't a statement, why was there money for Evan but not even $10,000 for my daughter? Neither of them answered. My mother accused me of letting hatred win. I gently pulled my arm away and told her this wasn't hatred. If I hated him, I wouldn't have come. I was willing to sit in that hospital. I was willing to speak to Evan. I hoped he survived. But my body was the one thing in this family story I still controlled. Eventually, Evan found a match through the donor registry. A distant cousin was compatible and the transplant saved his life. I visited him once during recovery. I sat beside his bed for 20 minutes. "I'm glad you're alive," I told him. Evan looked at me and quietly apologized. He admitted he had known our parents helped him buy the house. He had known they told me they couldn't spare anything. He had simply stayed silent. It wasn't enough to erase the past. But it was the first time someone in my family admitted what that silence had cost me. My parents and I barely speak now. I visit Lily's grave every month. Sometimes I bring flowers that remind me of her drawings. Bright little houses with yellow walls and blue windows. I finally understand something. Family isn't just the people who share your blood. It's the people who show up when showing up costs them something. My parents showed me who they were 3 years ago. I just finally stopped waiting for them to become someone else. If you enjoyed this emotional story, please subscribe for more real, raw family stories about betrayal, grief, forgiveness, and finding the strength to choose yourself.